What's happening, internet fam? So, just a quick update. We were in court this morning again, and apparently, opposing counsel and the opposing party watches these videos. So, hi. And I'm okay with them being submitted as court evidence because I am just telling the truth repeatedly. I'm telling the truth and posting the truth out there so that eventually my kids can watch these videos so that they can know why their dad was not in their life for more than 3 years. Despite no history of drug or alcohol abuse, no history of any kind of criminal convictions whatsoever, no history of any kind of domestic violence, any kind of violence, no record of any kind of malfeasance towards any party ever. I mean, I think the last time I was in a fist fight was like junior high over 25, 30 years ago. So, yeah, other than that, I really don't have any kind of history of anything. And I don't think that we should be counting a scuffle in junior high at this point. I'm in my early 40s. So the hearing, we had a different judge, a new judge. He seemed very reasonable. He seemed like he was definitely just trying to get the ball rolling. He kept saying, "I'm just trying to get the ball rolling." Seemed like a nice guy. But again, it's a new judge, doesn't know anything about the case, hasn't been there for the previous hearings, isn't familiar with the previous rulings, isn't familiar with all the patterns of visitation violation and orders violations by the defendant, and so there's no penalties at all for the defendant. The defendant can continue to violate the order. She can continue to violate the video chat order. She can continue to violate the supervised visitation order, and there will be no penalty for her. And he said, "Oh, I have no evidence." And I'm like, "What about the last 3 years? I haven't seen my kids. That doesn't factor in at all. What about the last 6 months? I haven't seen the kids in 6 months now, even though I have a standing order to see them twice a week. And yet, I haven't seen them for 6 months. And that doesn't count as like a previous violation or like, oh, well, he's new to the case, so let's just ignore that for now." The court picked one of the supervisors, one of the more expensive ones, and immediately opposing counsel was trying to add all kinds of stipulations and put roadblocks to the actual visitation. Oh, again, this has been the strategy the entire time, and it's still the strategy. Right now we have a ruling that I'm supposed to see the kids twice a week with a supervisor. We were supposed to be able to pick any supervisor anywhere on the island. Of course, Mrs. Garcia declined every supervisor that I picked, and she did not submit any herself, except for ones that were already professional, hired by the court, etc., which are all prohibitively expensive, and she has to pay half. So now she's going to claim, "Oh, I can't afford it." She's already claiming she can't afford it, and but she's picking it. It's like you pick a plumber who's $300 an hour, and you're like, "Oh, I can't afford it." It's like, well, then don't pick the plumber who's $300 an hour. Duh. But obviously, it's just another avenue for harming my relationship with the children. That's really been the only goal by her for 3 years, and she's still continuing at it. There was a lot of procedural stuff about them trying to get my address. They really want my address. So if I disappear, if I die in my sleep, if anything like that happens, you know who's to blame here. Why do they want my address so bad? Why are they trying to get my address? It's very clear to me after 3 years of extreme abuse by these parties, by this one party, and that they have it out for me clearly, and yet they're continuously trying to get my address, like again and again. What's his address? What's his address? We got to get his address. And I'm like, yeah, you're not getting my address. If you do get my address, I'm moving. I use a green screen because it looks professional, but also I use a green screen because I don't want anybody to know where I am, because I have very malevolent, malicious, vicious, violent. She tried to run me over with a car. As you can see, if you actually read the court document, I asked the judge to read my closing remarks from the January hearing. He did not. And so, once again, I have an existing order to see the kids twice a week. I haven't seen them since March. It is now August 19th, 2020. I haven't seen them since March 2nd, 2020. And I have an existing ruling again to see the kids twice a week. This time utilizing a very specific professional supervisor. Again, Like, as if I need a supervisor. For what? What have I ever done to anybody that would cause me to require a supervisor to watch my own children? Name one thing that I've ever done in like the history of my life that would like make that sensible. Nothing. There's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. I mean, unless you count my scuffle in junior high, which I didn't initiate, by the way. I was kind of, I mean, yeah, I was in a scuffle in junior high, but like the guy kind of attacked me. So again, but here we are 3 years later. And she tried to submit all this other paperwork. I objected to it. I don't know if it got submitted or not. There were some blatant falsehoods in some of her submissions that she was making. And again, they kept saying, oh, he's tried to kidnap the kids. I had an ex parte order and took them back to the farm where they had been living for more than 2 years. It's not, I mean, what kind of kidnapper is like, oh yeah, let's take the kids home. Yeah, this is a kidnapping? I mean, she repeatedly in the courtroom tries to say kidnapping. This is why they want my address, because I might kidnap the children, right? Even though I've repeatedly said, I'm in Honolulu, I want to stay in Honolulu, I want the kids to be in Honolulu, I want to get an order so we actually stay in Honolulu, all of us. Like, there's no possibility of her moving and starting this whole process in another state. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter, because, like today, we got a new judge who's not familiar with the case at all. That's fine. The previous judge made an order, the order's violated. This judge doesn't care. It's not his order. He's not like, oh, you violated my order. If we had the judge we had last time, she might have said, hey, I made an order. It was very clear. You violated it. And then there might have been actually some repercussions for Mrs. Garcia for violating the orders. She's canceled 3 video visits now with me since the previous order. Judge said, no, that's fine. Whatever. Violate those video visitations. No big deal. And she was supposed to schedule the actual physical visitation several times, twice a week for the last 7 months. And I haven't had one single visit. And again, I mean, I called, 100 psychologists. I actually have a picture of the list of all the psychologists that I called. Here's all the psychologists I called on the island trying to comply with the order that we got in March from the January hearing. And, and the judge asked me, she's like, well, what evidence do I have of that? And so I found the evidence, because I found the list of all the different psychologists that I called in March. But the judge wasn't there. New judge, new day. It's like nothing in the past ever occurred. 3 years of visitation violations, 3 years of extreme child abuse. And it's like none of it ever happened. We're just like, oh, it's a new day. Just start over again. Start fresh. And just make another order, another ruling that will be once again violated by the defendant. And it's like, what's my recourse here? What can I possibly do? 3 years of my children's basic human rights being violated. That's what parental alienation is. It's a human rights violation. And 3 years of it. And they just keep making the order over and over again, like the same order, and it keeps getting violated. And then they make another, they slightly alter the order and then repost it again, and it gets violated again. They're like, oh, well, we're here to get the ball rolling. Well, the ball's not rolling because there's absolutely no repercussions for the person violating the orders. This is family court. There's no jury. There's a judge, but it can be a new judge at the drop of a hat. It's not going to be the judge you had last time or the time before. I've had 3 judges in Hawaii so far. Been 2 years. I've had like 6 hearings, and I've had 3 different judges. Do you think any one of them actually really like remembers us, knows what's going on in the case, knows anything about it? They're starting new every time. It's starting fresh every time. It's like, imagine you get to a job, and the job is super dependent on your relationship with the client, but every day it's a new client. It's just like, you're not going to be very good at that job, right? The judge seemed reasonable. He seemed like he knew what he was doing, but it's like, again, I said, like, there's got to be some kind of repercussions because she's going to violate the order. She's been violating the orders for 3 years. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to sanction her at this time. I was like, and then what's sanctioning going to do? I don't even know. I don't even know the legal terms, but it's like, it's been 3 years of violated court orders by a narcissistic, bipolar child abuser. And I've had no ability to do anything about it. I go to court over and over and over again. And I haven't seen the kids since March. and I have no way to do anything about these court orders being violated. We just got a new court order. How much you want to bet it's going to be violated? You want to put money on it? Go ahead, Internet fam. Let's put some money on it. I will bet you. I mean, you're going to have to get a hold of me somehow, but I will go ahead and bet you $100 that she's going to violate this court order. I'll bet you $100 she's going to violate this court order. I can only take a few takers. I can't make $100 bets with like 1,000 people. That'd be out $100,000. I don't have it. Sorry, I just don't have it. But if you're interested in making a wager with me about whether or not she's going to continue to violate the court orders, especially now since there's no repercussions, I told the judge, I said, listen, I'm here in the courtroom now because she's already violated 6 months worth of court orders. So there has to be some kind of repercussion for when she violates the orders because she's going to violate the orders. And he goes, no, I'm not going to sanction her or nothing like that. I'm just going to make a new order. I wonder if it'll get violated. I wonder. So here I am, August 19th, 2020. Third judge, sixth appearance. And it's almost like I should just go to the courthouse now and file because I already know she's going to violate the order. I know it. She's violated every order. On the Chinese astrological sign, she's an ox. You know what ox does? They just keep plowing. They never stop. Just a relentless plowing through the mud. And that's what she's been doing with these court order violations. Just relentlessly plowing through the mud, just violating every order, continuing to violate every order. What? Like she's just going to suddenly stop violating the orders? Come on. Who believes that? If you believe that, why don't you bet me $100? I would love to get an extra $100 from you. Yeah, so basically this ruling just said it specified as supervised visitors. So now instead of anybody on the island, it can only be one. And you know full well that there's going to be all kinds of scheduling snafus. Oh, she's only available this time. Oh, I'm only available this time. Oh, he's only available this time. So next thing you know, there's going to be another vector for violating the visitation orders, of course. And then also, she got a specific therapist that she recommended who takes TRICARE, right? Because, of course, she doesn't want to pay for any of this. You know, this is all her doing all this. She's the one not letting me see the kids. She's the one moving them from state to state. She's the one violating all these court orders. And yet she wants me to pay for the therapy that obviously she needs. I mean, anybody who would look at a little child and say, you'll never see your dad again, is somebody who needs therapy, needs a lot of therapy. I mean, it'd be one thing like if I cheated on her or whatever, but that's not what occurred. It's quite the other way around. And yet still, she's like not letting me see my kids at all for 3 years. What are the consequences for her? Her insurance has to pay a therapist that she picks. That's the consequence for 3 years of court order violations. Her insurance has to pay for a therapist that she chose. They call the legal system the justice system. Does this sound like any kind of justice to you? Any kind of justice. What about the kids? The kids are the ones suffering here. Where's the justice for the kids? Is it justice for the kids that their abusive mother has to pay a therapist that she chooses via her insurance that she's getting from her most current, or I don't know, the last one I know of? I don't even know if they're still together. I don't know anything about them. Don't care. Whatever. Navy guy number 4 clearly is paying for her to survive, paying for her insurance, paying for all that stuff, right? I met him once at the courthouse in San Diego. I said, hey, I'd like to talk to you. You're living with my children. And he said, if you talk to me, I'll call the sheriff. And I'm like, dude, you're living with my kids. I want to talk to you, you know, make sure you're not a weirdo. I don't know, like, you know, something. Maybe you're somebody I can negotiate with. I clearly can't negotiate with the mother. So let me, you know, talk to you, try and negotiate. And he's just like, no, wouldn't talk to me. He's like, if you try to talk to me, I'm going to go get the sheriff. I'm like, dude, we're in the courthouse. The sheriff's right there. Go get him. I'm just trying to have a conversation with you. Yeah, I'm going to call this therapist, and there's going to be a bunch of scheduling and whatever. I'm going to call Trina Yamada, the supervised visitation monitor. And again, none of the visitation is pursuant to the therapist or anything. It's not like, oh, you have to go do the therapist, then you get the visitation. The visitation has been ordered. So visitation should have been happening already since March. So, and they kept trying to say that too, like, oh, no, we can't start the visitation until like the family therapist happens. You know, they kept trying to put roadblocks into me seeing the children. That's all they're doing. That's obviously all they're doing. If you were there in the courtroom with me, you'd see it. It's like roadblock after roadblock over trying not to let me see the kids, trying not to let the kids see their dad. And we know why. Because the kids are going to see their dad eventually. One way or the other, they're going to see their dad. There's no way that they're not going to see their dad. Unless Ms. Garcia has me killed in my sleep, which is, I think, why she wants my address so bad. I laugh, but it's not really that funny. I literally think that's what's going on here. So, yeah, so detectives. When you are looking at my cold dead corpse and you watch my YouTube videos, please investigate Jacqueline Grace Garcia, because guaranteed that's where the smoking gun is. Whether, I don't know if she's going to pull the trigger, she's going to hire somebody, have somebody in her family do it, whatever, but I'm telling you, she is after me. She definitely wants my address. She definitely does not want me in our children's lives. She'll do anything to make that happen. And I would not be surprised at all if she has me killed. That's just, I wouldn't even be like, nothing, like no surprise. That's just like obviously what she wants at this point, is me just dead, out of the picture, not involved. She knows she's not going to get money out of me, so she just wants me eliminated. And I don't know what else to say about any of this. I'm going to call Trini Yamada. I'm going to call Britt Young. I'm going to call the therapist that I have to pay for, and she gets her new husband's insurance to pay for. I asked the judge too. I said, how's that fair? Like, okay, so her insurance pays for her therapist or whatever, but I got to pay for the therapist out of pocket? I mean, how's that fair? If it were up to me, we just have 50-50 custody. We wouldn't have to deal with the court. We have to deal with a therapist. We wouldn't have to deal with supervised monitor. None of it. I pick the kids up from school on Friday after school, pick them up from school, have them for the week. They go to school. We go to the park, go hiking, go to the beach, whatever we're going to do for the whole week. And the following Friday, she picks them up for school, and then she has them for a week. None of this. None of these expenses, none of these therapists, none of these supervised visitation monitors, none of these lawyers, none of these court dates. That's what I've been fighting for this entire time. Just that. Like, I don't want to deal with her. I don't want to see her. I mean, she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know what I'm saying? I don't have nothing to do with it. But I do want to be in my children's lives, especially because the other parent that they have, parents, I guess. Stepdad's been there for a year and a half now, something. Navy guy number 4, doing good, buddy, doing good. They're so focused on abusing the children in this manner by not allowing them to see their father, not allowing them to see their paternal grandparents, paternal uncles, paternal aunt, cousins, anybody on my whole side of the family. It's like we're just like, all of us have been like completely eliminated. And no repercussions at all. Super shocking. Not shocking. If you're familiar with family court, this is a totally normal story. This is just as common. This is like, oh yeah, mom gets everything, dad can go pound sand, you know. But it's if she and the stepdad and her whole side of the family weren't so focused on abusing the children in this manner, I wouldn't be fighting so hard for the kids. You know, if I had them every other weekend and everything was cool and whatever, like, I don't know, like, that'd be fine, you know. But they're so cruel and they're abusing the children so harshly. And I've shown this with video after video, evidence. I mean, you know, this is just the relevant caseload right now. This is just what's relevant right now. I mean, I've got a huge box down there of previous stuff, and then in California, I've got like a giant, huge box full of paperwork. Of just going to court repeatedly over and over again, trying to get some kind of visitation, some kind of shared custody schedule. And I don't get it. I don't get it. They didn't address any of my emotions, really. The only thing they said is, okay, we're going to try and get the ball rolling. He kept saying, we're going to get the ball rolling. The ball's been rolling. I have an order right now to see the kids twice a week that has been violated since March. So how is making a new order that says the same thing going to be getting the ball? Oh, she violated again. This time there's going to be consequences. I mean, let's get our hopes up on that one, right? Anyway, internet fam, this is what's up. This is what's occurring. I have a lot of people following this case now, friends, family, other alienated dads, lawyers, people making documentaries, other former musician colleagues. This is what is occurring. I'm going to be putting this on social media for everybody to see. Once again, I'm putting everything on social media for everybody to see. I am transparent. I have nothing to hide. I have no criminal record of any kind. I've never harmed anybody. I've never threatened to harm anybody. I've never done anything. And she's going to claim I kidnapped the kids. I got an ex parte ruling. I went to the courthouse, got a ruling, got the kids, and took them back to our farm in Oregon where we had been living for 2 years. And she's going to call that a kidnapping and base all of this last 3 years of legal stuff. She's going to tell that's the case. Well, your dad kidnapped you, so of course I couldn't let him see you anymore for 3 years. Even though, that's completely out of context BS. I had a court order that said bring the kids back to the farm in Oregon because she was already violating the visitation. That's why I got the court order. You think I wanted to get an ex parte, drive all the way halfway across the United States? No. All she had to do was agree to some kind of reasonable shared custody schedule. I would have never got the ex parte in the first place, which I was very clear about. If you read the email, another olive branch, it's in all the court records. I should probably read it aloud and post that here too for the record so the kids can see that. Maybe I did already. I don't know. But it's very clear. I've been trying to negotiate in the best interest of the children from the very get-go in March of 2017. And I have been stymied for 3.5 years. 3.5 years, my children and I have been abused by Mrs. Garcia and an army of like greasy lawyers and free lawyers who don't even know how to write an order, supervised visitation monitors who are just trying to line their own pockets, and mental health experts who are like, in their early 20s and actually don't know anything about physical or mental health. Jenna Bush in San Diego. That's you, by the way. This whole situation is so ludicrous. And this is normal. This is totally normal in Western civilization now. It's not just the U.S. It's like this in the UK. It's like this in Spain. It's like this in Australia. It's like this throughout most of Western Europe. And I'm so sick of going to court and having no consequences when somebody violates a court order. How can there be no consequences for somebody who's repeatedly violated the court order for 3 years? Do you think that's going to slow her down from violating this order when there's been no consequences for 3 years? Okay, well, I'm going to make a new order. And this time, boy, she better comply. She better comply with the order this time, you guys. It's like, imagine you're like teaching a class, right? You got 30 kids in the class, and there's one kid, he keeps punching this other kid in the back of the head, right? You're like, hey, don't punch a kid in the back of the head, right? Maybe first time verbal warning is good enough. I don't know. Maybe first time he needs to go sit outside. There's got to be some kind of punishment, right? But like for 3 years, you're like, hey, better stop punching that kid in the back of the head. Better stop you. We don't like it. Imagine that. Imagine teaching a class, like a second grade class, and for 3 years being like, okay, we're in 4th grade now. This time I really mean it. Stop punching the kid in the back of the head. It's like, well, are you going to do something? No. Oh, no. We're just going to make another. I'm just going to tell you again. Don't punch a kid in the back of the head. Just going to tell you again for like the 700th time with like a 12th judge and like a 20th courthouse. It's like, it's just so ridiculous. I can't even. That's what's up. I'm going to post this. Hello, opposing counsel. Hello, everybody else in the universe. I don't care. Stop violating the court order. Let me see my children. I'm here. I'm healthy. I'm going to stay healthy. Oh, and by the way, if you do try and take me out, be prepared, because I'm protecting myself 100%. I know where I am. I've got protection. I'm ready to go. So you want to take me out? You want to take me out? If that's like, because I'm going to keep going to court until I get some kind of shared custody, period. I've said that from day one in 2017. So if your other alternative to cut me out of the children's life altogether is to have me killed, be prepared. Be prepared for that, because I'm prepared. I'm ready. Come on down. All right, internet fam. Love you all. I wish this wasn't my life. I do. I wish this wasn't my life. I wish my life was like, out in the garden, growing organic vegetables and going hiking with my kids. That's what my life was in 2016. I've been trying to get just a piece of that back for 4 years now. And because of the way the court system works, because of the way mental health is like completely ignored by our entire society and civilization, especially when it comes to women, as mental health is like just completely ignored. It is. I'm sorry, it is. I just here I am. Here my kids are. 4 years later, still can't go hiking. Still can't grow a cucumber. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Not if you marry a bipolar narcissist and have kids with them. Not in the U.S. Definitely not. Believe me, this is not my pursuit of happiness. Going to court over and over again, just trying to say, hey, she's violated the order again. Let me see my kids. Hey, she's violated the order again. Let me see my kids. Hey, she's violated the order again. Let me see my kids. This is not the pursuit of happiness. It's a weird version of happiness. This is not what I want to be doing. I want to be hiking. I want to be growing organic fruits and vegetables with my children. That's all I want to do. That's why I'm here. That's the commitment I made the second I knew I was going to be a dad. My commitment was, I'm going to feed these kids organic fruits and vegetables. I'm going to get them outside, get them doing some healthy activities outside, hiking, swimming, whatever. And for 4 years now, 3.5 years now, I have not been able to do so. So, Everett and Grace, I'm sorry. I'm still fighting for you. I'm sorry your mom has made it seem like it's okay to cancel video chats. I'm sorry that the state of Hawaii now has made it seem like it's okay to cancel video chats. I'm sorry about the world we live in. I'm 43. I didn't make the world how it is today. And I'm trying to change it. That's why I'm posting these videos. That's why I'm going to court. That's why I'm trying to at least raise awareness for this very serious issue. Not just for me. I mean, so many men I know don't have access to their kids, have had their children's rights violated, have had their own rights violated, have suffered all kinds of egregious abuse. So, I mean, my case is not unique at all. I personally know 20, 30 guys that this has happened to, and a few women too. It happens to women too. It's a lot less common, but it does happen to women too. So I don't want to make it seem like it's only men, but it's predominantly men. It's like 80% men, 10% women. So, and the other 10% is some kind of, I don't know, goes to the grandkids or grandparents or something. So I don't know what to do about any of this at this point. I mean, the awareness has to be out there, right? Everybody knows somebody who this has happened to. If you live in the Western world, United States, Spain, Australia, England, Mexico, Colombia. I mean, watch that Erasing Dad documentary. I posted on my YouTube. I dubbed the whole thing in English and put it on YouTube in English because it was originally done in Spanish. It's called Erasing Dad, Erasing Father, something. Anyway, it's on my channel. Internet fam, this is what's up. I'm posting this stuff. People keep saying, stop posting stuff on social media. I don't care anymore. I'm going to post whatever I want on social media. If the only right I have left is my First Amendment right, I'm going to use it for the greater good. I'm going to post what's happening to my children, what's happening to me, because my kids need to know, and they're going to know. These videos aren't going anywhere. All right. Love you, Internet fam. Talk to you soon.